absolutely almost incredible. The most powerful military, technological country in the world, albeit under a terrifying attack, was not able to put planes into the air, which actually could probably have stopped at least the second and third hits. I think all of this needs to be explained. It wasn't in the congressional report. There was no serious examination of this. And there is the amazing statement made in the official congressional report that the American authorities have not managed to trace the source of the funding. And then the most amazingly disingenuous statement, ultimately, is it of little consequence. It is of massive consequence as to who supplied the money, the $400,000 to $500,000 that were necessary to finance that project, where it came from, who were the contacts, how was it done. It is true that the investigations have been circumscribed. The Bush administration never wanted there to be an official commission at all. I think the only reason why it happened is because the widows of the victims of 9/11, innocent but determined women who couldn't bear the fact that they had lost their husbands, their sons, they'd lost members of their family, and they wanted to know the truth. Everyone in a situation of utter disaster and catastrophe, the one thing they want to know is the full truth, because otherwise they can never grieve and get over that grievance. There are so many cases where there's been no real attempt to catch those who are alleged to be the dangerous enemy, those who are threatening the security of the country, and yet at the same time there is a continuous intensification of procedures, new laws, the Patriot Act, a whole series. We're having exactly the same in this country. We're bringing into the UK in October a new power of the government to imprison people, to detain them for acts preparatory to terrorism. What is an act preparatory to terrorism or indirect terrorism? I mean, the widening of the powers, the authoritarian powers of the state which are available to government is very dangerous. And I think we live in a state, we live in states, both the United States and the UK, where the powers to question, to call in evidence, to demand explanation, to hold to account those who are in control are gradually systematically being weakened. This is very dangerous in a democracy. If you have a war on terror, then it does give governments in all countries, and it's beginning to happen here, the opportunity to restrict civil liberties, to demand greater centralization of control, on the grounds that anyone who denies this is putting at risk the nation. The government, the administration has to take whatever steps are necessary to safeguard the people. It's a very convenient way of ensuring there is fear, of ensuring that there is control, and of ensuring that those who are in the know, and of course we cannot tell you because it is all secret, are in a position of extreme power.
It's a recipe for the abuse of power. Do you agree?
It is a recipe for the abuse of power. I don't think there's any doubt that making these claims is a way of trying to prevent any accountability. The checks and balances which are normally there are removed. Those who are naturally skeptical or dissident or very rightfully question what those with power in government are actually doing are pushed on the defensive. They become fearful, they may well be attacked, and there is a whole new spirit, a new culture which begins to exist in countries, which is, I think, frankly, extremely dangerous. If we were really facing a serious threat of the kind that is actually said, how is it that the American government has so often actually failed to catch those who are the source, apparently, of this hostility to the United Nations? Bin Laden on so many occasions has been allowed to let go. What is done to people who wish to demonstrate is increasingly worrying. A lot of demonstrations, both at Genoa, at the G8 at Gleneagles, many other places around the world. There is no wish of those who demonstrate, in my view, for violence. They disagree profoundly with what their governments are doing. I'm not saying whether they're right or wrong. I'm simply saying that they should have the right to do so without harassment, intimidation, or indeed being charged, attacked, and being seriously injured.
Yes, I'm from the United States of America, and I totally agree. And what most British people don't know is that Dick Cheney, in September of 2000, openly wrote a document called Rebuilding America's Defenses. And he said, we need a Pearl Harbor event. The U.S. government wants to carry out terror attacks to blame it on their enemies. 9/11 was a self-inflicted wound. 9/11 was an inside job. It was orchestrated. It was engineered by the globalists, just like Hitler on February 27, 1933, carried out a terror attack on his own Reichstag to be blamed on his enemies. Then to invade Poland in 1939, he attacked his own military base and blamed it on the Poles. It's the same system over and over and over again. You've got to understand that governments stand to gain from terror, to scare you into submission to attack. They provocateur and hire criminals to carry out attacks, and they burn the patsies. Or in many cases, the government carries out the attacks themselves. George Bush carried out 9/11. Do you think some people in a cave, were able to have NORAD stand down? Do you think that people in a cave were able to have all of this happen? It's a total and complete fraud. The New World Order is using terror to scare you into submission, and they will be defeated. And here in this supposed free country where they're trying to pass a law to stop this,